What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video here at Chris's MMA Universe. So UFC 244 just wrapped up just moments ago, and I'm actually going to cover in this video, I'm going to be covering the co-main event and the main event, starting with the co-main event. So it looks like, Kevin Gastelum versus Darren Till. Not too much going on in the fight, not too much going on, at least in the beginning of the fight. First round was pretty much just a grappling match, and it kind of continued into round two. But Darren Till was getting the better of Kevin Gastelum. It was pretty clear. He was able to catch Kevin Gastelum with a couple good combo and combinations, and then he was actually catching Kevin Gastelum with a lot of leg kicks. He was actually chewing up that lead leg of Kevin Gastelum. And, both men being in southpaw, it was kind of like, it kind of canceled each other out. It would just be kind of like two orthodox fighters fighting. But with them being both southpaw, I guess it was just kind of like throwing the other one off. And, Kevin Gastelum was trying to get inside. But Kevin Gastelum being that shorter fighter at 185 is just, it's kind of hard to close the distance on someone like Darren Till. He's actually coming up from 170, but he's a big 185er. He's actually one of the bigger 185ers. And, Darren Till said himself after the fight that, he felt like Kevin Gastelum was stronger than him. He feels like, some of the guys are going to be stronger than him in this division, but he feels good, because him at not having to be drained and cutting all that weight to get to 170 anymore, being able to keep on 15 pounds is a big difference. But he also said that he felt drained still coming into this fight because him just getting off the plane like 2 days ago, I believe. And, because he got to fight week pretty late in New York. But Darren Till got it done. There's not too much to say for this fight. Darren Till got it done by a split decision. I guess, some people actually thought that Kevin Gastelum won. But, according to the judges, though, I think it was 2 out of 3 judges that scored it for Darren Till. So, ultimately, Darren Till got the nod. He ended up getting it done. Darren Till definitely got back on track for this fight. He was trying to make a statement. He was catching Kevin Gastelum with some good shots, good combinations, like I said, but just not enough, and Kevin Gastelum just wasn't able to get inside. It was just too hard for him. Darren Till was just too long. He was, using his distance properly, using it wisely. I know Kevin Gastelum tried to come in there and, try to throw, I think he threw 3 leg kicks in a row, and, he was trying to pick up the pace, but it just, it didn't work for him. But Kevin Gastelum, it's not like Kevin Gastelum got dominated. It's just he just wasn't able to do it. So for Kevin Gastelum to actually lose two fights back to back, Kevin Gastelum is definitely gonna try and climb his way back up. He is young, like how he was saying. I believe he's only 27 years old, and 27 or 28, and he's still young. He's probably entering his prime now, and if not, maybe not even yet. Some fighters don't enter their prime until about 30, and or 29, 30, I would say. So, but Darren Till got it done. Hats off to Darren Till. Let's see what's next for Darren Till at 185. It looks like this is the weight class for him. He definitely looks good in it. Even though he made 186, he still made weight, but I definitely believe that this is the weight class for him. So, Kevin Gastelum, let's see what's next for him. I really don't know. Maybe give him a little bit, maybe give him an opponent that's in a top 10, or, kind of like I would say, I don't want to say warm-up fight, but maybe something a little more relaxing. But let's see what's next for Darren Till. Darren Till is definitely going to fight. I would say, they already started him at the top of the heap here. So what's only next for him is to fight somebody else in the top 5. But, Darren Till got it done. Congratulations to both men, Kevin Gastelum and Darren Till. So for the main event, with, Jorge Masvidal versus Nate Diaz, what's to say about this fight? It was so so exciting, just the build up to it. I mean, with the men coming out, where Nate Diaz took a little while to start making his walk, and it was just so intense, you know? And then when the fight started, I mean, Jorge just immediately went for the kill. Immediately. I mean, every single shot Jorge was hitting Nate with was a absolute power shot to try to take Nate out. I mean, listen, Jorge Masvidal was catching Nate with some power shots. He was tagging him. I mean, in that first round where he caught him with the head kick on the way down, like it was something else. I actually thought the fight was going to be over right there, but then I started to think, this is Nate Diaz. This is Nate Diaz. You're not going to put Nate Diaz out with just one shot. Not nowadays. Nate Diaz, when Nate Diaz is in there, he's in there to stay. And he ended up catching Jorge with some shots. Nothing too significant. I mean, they were significant shots, but nothing to where it hurt Jorge at all. Like, Jorge was actually smiling and laughing and celebrating when he would get hit. So it was, I mean, you know, Nate Diaz was definitely pushing the pace a little bit, but Jorge was really the one that was controlling the octagon. He was controlling the pace of the fight. He was handling Nate Diaz with, I mean, I want to say with ease. I mean, he was actually tagging Nate, rocked Nate more than a couple times. I mean, he was coming at Nate. He was walking him down. Every time they were in the clinch, it seemed like it was Jorge's plan to get in the clinch with Nate and then on the break, try to catch him with something hard, which he did in round one. You know, where he ended up on the break, caught him with a hard elbow, and ended up rocking Nate. And then that's when Nate kind of, you know, when Jorge was coming after him, then when Nate kind of dropped a little, that's when Jorge caught him with the kick on the way down, and, you know, it really hurt him. But the way Nate was actually being able to keep away from danger, too much power shots after being rocked, was when, you know, Nate was just laying on his back, hoping that Jorge would come down to him when Jorge was trying to throw shots. But, yeah, some were hitting him still, but not anything too significant because Nate was actually able to try and recover, and he was actually gaining some, you know, some momentum, kind of like recovering while he was laying down, laying on his back. And but then that's when Jorge knew that Nate was rocked, so he'll back up, let him up, and then, you know, just try to keep the pace on him again. But Jorge looked fantastic in this fight. He looked phenomenal. I don't even know how to mean that any more than that. I don't even know how to express it any more than that. I mean, Jorge looked so good in this fight. He was winning the fight without a doubt. It was unanimous going towards Jorge going into round 4. And, you know, according to Nate Diaz was actually saying that, you know, he wasn't able to run as much as he wanted to or as much as he could. So he was actually going to push the pace in round 4. That's when he was actually getting ready to get started. But he was saying Jorge got it done like he was supposed to. But both men want to run it back. And I do actually believe that Nate Diaz was going to push the pace in round 4, because we know when in their first fight, even in the second fight, with Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor in their 2-fight series, in the second fight, Nate Diaz was getting tagged. He was actually getting dropped. I don't care what anybody says. Nate Diaz was being dropped by Conor McGregor, but was still pushing the pace. It's like, you could rock him, you can hurt him, but he's still going to be there. And so even in the first fight with Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz, Conor was he was throwing everything at Nate. He was rattling him. But then Conor got tired. Nate started pushing the pace. So, you know, Nate, we all know that in the later rounds, I mean, he could go just like he did in round 1. Like, he would actually be as fresh as he was in round 1. But Nate's not known for throwing he's not known for throwing power shots. You know, he just volume, keeps the pace on you. And so he's not throwing like power kicks, power punches. But it's just, I know it hurt me. I know it hurt the fans. It probably hurt you guys that, you know, us as fans, the way that the fight was stopped. You know, that the doctor ended up telling the referee it was over because of Nate Diaz's cut. And it seemed a little weird. It seemed a little weird because it did seem like the fight was going to get stopped. Like the doctor was kind of too involved. And then out of nowhere, the doctor, called it and said it was done. So, you know, as Jorge being the BMF now and getting the BMF title and the BMF belt after a win like this, I mean, I'm not even going to say anybody won or anybody lost this fight. Yes, Jorge was winning, but he didn't. Who wants to win that way, And Jorge felt that way. And Jorge wants to run it back. Nate Diaz wants to run it back, like right back, like he said in the Octagon interview. But it's true, though. Nobody really wants to win this way, and nobody wants to lose that way. I mean, Nate had worse cuts in his past. And I don't know if this is a cut that was kind of like, that ended up being a scar from his last fight against Anthony Pettis. I think that's what he said at the end. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. But Nate Diaz has a lot of scar tissue. And like they were saying, like Joe Rogan was saying, that he has scar tissue so much on his face that cuts get opened up very easily on Nate Diaz. It could just be like a light punch and then that's it. A cut opened up. And we all know that Nate Diaz could be bloodied, battered, rocked, hurt, still gonna come for you. Still gonna come for you. So for the doctor to stop it, it was just odd. I just, don't get me wrong, I know the doctor's there for the best interest of the fighters and stuff like that, but I mean, Nate Diaz had worse cuts before, and the fights went the entire distance. I just don't believe that they should have stopped it. I wish they didn't stop it, but I cannot wait for them to run it back. Hopefully that fight does get made. Hopefully it does. I know Dana White will be all for it. I know this fight actually drew in a lot of money. Jorge is a needle mover. Nate Diaz is a needle mover. So I really hope that they run it back on a big card. They could easily main event it again. But I really, really hope that they run it back, hopefully early in 2020. But I really want to know what you guys think about the co-main event and main event of this video. I really want to know what you guys think about both fights. And who do you think, who do you think the winner of these fights are going to fight next? And who do you think the losers are going to fight next as well? And, what do you think should happen? I mean, we all know, like I said, Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal are actually going to try and run it back. So hopefully that gets done. Make sure you hit the like. Make sure you leave a comment. If you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe. Make sure you hit that Chris's MMA Universe icon that'll be right in the center of your screen to subscribe. And I'll see all you guys in the next one.